Jason, how you doing, my friend?
Pretty good, John. Thanks for having me.
Listen, again, I wanted to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to have this conversation with you today. Um, Jason, basically, just take a quick moment and explain to the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm over here in Katy, Texas, over near Houston. Right now, I own my own small business. I'm an auto detailer. Been doing that full time for about 3.5 years. But my background has growing up was baseball. I was an ex-professional baseball player, um, and I was in the fitness industry for about 16 years. And then I had a son, and it kind of changed my whole life. And that's where I think we're having this conversation, being a single father, and pretty much, the ups and the downs and the highs and the lows of that new journey that I've been on now, going on about to be 7 years of that. And my son's about to turn 7 actually this Saturday. So it's been a journey.
First I want to say congrats, man, because listen, every birthday's a milestone.
Yeah.
That's a big thing, you know. And when it comes to, your single father journey, like you said, there are plenty of ups and there are plenty of downs. Good days, bad days. I want to ask, because you were a professional baseball player, a professional athlete, which do you think is harder? Professional athleticism, activities, and events, or parenting? Which one's more difficult?
So I would say being a parent, and only with the issue, right? And especially in my situation, um, when I was told the good news of being a father, um, my son's mom and I weren't in the best area of our relationship. We'd actually been split up. I'm not married, never been married. Um, and it's been a battle since, but it's been an uphill battle. Thank God, it's not a downhill battle like it was at the beginning, but it's been hard for me because what I saw my father do for me was he was in my life every day, and that's something that I, as a father, would love to have the capability of doing, is being and seeing my son every day, coming home from school, going to school, but not saying that I'm not there as much as I can be, because I am at everything that I am being given ability to be at, whether it's through our state order that I have with the courts, basically, and I was in a custody battle, and I fought to have what I have, and it was pretty much I'm at 50-50. But it's, to me, half is not full, and I I missed that. So that's the hardest part about being a father, which is, baseball was every day, every day, every day, every day, and then as a father, I'm, half the time. So it's hard. But his mom and I are still working on things of just reconciling and stuff like that. So not to say that that time might not ever come, but it's been a fight, it's been a battle, and that's been the hardest part about being a single father.
I understand that. And it's an interesting dichotomy because look at it. You get your child 50% of the time, but during that time, you have 100% of the responsibilities.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow. Because in a normal situation, when I say normal, I mean a two-parent family situation. Um, it is a 50-50 relationship. The man handles 50% of whatever duties. The wife handles 50% of their duties, you know, and both parents get to spend an equal amount of time with their children in that respect. But
Right.
in the single parent circumstance, what we have to do is, first off, the time that we have to make sure that we're optimizing that time. But then at the same time, we have to be 100% responsible. Like I always say, we are the chief cook and bottle washers at that situation. You know, allow me to ask, how are you navigating co-parenting? Because I know what you said was in the beginning it was a real challenge, but it's kind of been more of an uphill battle in the 6 years you've been together, or in the 6 years that you've had your son.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still very tough communicating because again, we're on two different sides of our son, and for the most part, he lives with her, with my son's mom, and it's just a little harder to communicate what I feel or what I want most for my son, which I don't think we actually disagree on a lot of like the morals and the values. I think it's still our own personal battle that we have issues with from the past, right? That we're trying to reconcile over, or we're trying to get through, whether we're looking to have future relations or allowing us to go have a relation with somebody else. Um, it's just I don't know. I think it's just the communicating is still a little off. Um, I don't know what exactly it is, but it's just something that we're working on, and it's mostly for our son, because when we're around each other at events, we're cool as ice. Like we're good. We're chill. But it's when we get away and we're on the texting that doesn't show emotion or have emotion to it. The disconnect on a text message is very different than in person, and being able to actually communicate feelings or wrong feelings maybe from text that you might hear and you automatically think that you're talking down on me or you're saying something ugly to me, when you're just like no, I didn't mean it like that, but you know what I mean. So it's like when we're around, it's really cool, but then we disconnect, or we go our own ways, and then we're texting stuff, questioning stuff, and nobody we don't always like to be questioned, and when we want an answer to a question, um, I think individually sometimes we want a different type of answer, or we want it to be more of an extended answer. Sometimes it might feel short to us, or sometimes it might be too much. You're just like, oh, I just asked a question, but um, still communicating, still trying to find a level playing, a level parenting communication, I guess. But that's been, I think, the hard part is just communicating on text. Um, it doesn't have it seems not to have a filter when there's no emotion that can be read off of an actual text message.
Understood. Understood. Um, do you speak to other single parent males? Do you kind of have either casual conversation, or do you have some way where you've been able to kind of touch base with a group of young men just to be able to, share your experiences, tell what you go through? Do you have that?
I've had a few friends in the past, and I have a couple friends still now, that are single fathers, and it's kind of the same thing. Um, it's kind of the same thing, I guess. Once you go your separate way, then you have your own life, right? And it's always, well, I don't have time for that, or whether it's the father or the mother of the son, unless they're like really working on it together and around each other, then it's kind of like, nah, I ain't got time for that, or I ain't got time for that, or and really, in my mind, it's we should have time for that, because the individual in the middle of that is our son that we had together, and in my mind, I still want a family, I still want more kids, but it's hard for me to I guess I have hope, um, but it's hard for me to kind of like just close that chapter when I see what could be. Um, with like I said, when we're around each other, we're cool and we still have same similarities of things that we're capable of doing and being. And so it's just I guess other parents have different things going on. And I don't know. I think the center of it is the child. So my fight is always for my son.
Understood. You know, that's first off, that's the most important part, man. I mean, when you think about it, listen, like you said, the child in the middle is the key. They didn't ask to be here,
Right.
you know, and whatever we personally got going on is what we got going on. But we can't use our kid on either side as kin and father. We can't, you know. Let me ask you this, man. Um, what is what are some of the most incredible memories that you have had with your son as a parent? Period.
Yeah. Yeah, and my son is he's very an intelligent, gentle, kind, loving, athletic, sharing. Like, I mean, he's a different kid than some kids that I've seen of my friends having and stuff. So just that and all his characters are amazing for me to see. But some of the moments that I've had as I've seen him growing up are his abilities to do stuff instantaneously as I teach him, right? As I guide him or I am showing him, he picks it up so quickly, and it's a huge growth. So just seeing the growth, um, but the most one of the most memorable moments that I had, we went fishing, and we've gone a few times, and he loves fishing. He tells me that's the most favorite thing he does with me is fishing. And it might have been the last time we went, or the time before that, but he hooked the fish. He put the bait on the hook. He casted the line. He hooked the fish, and then he was in a battle. And he did all that by himself, and he was 6 years old. And I mean, he was in it, and he was so excited, like so excited. And I could just see the joy he had. I could just, and he's like, Dad, I baited it, I casted it, I fought him, and I brought them all in by myself. And I was just like, wow. I don't know if I did that at 6 years old.
And you know what's amazing is that we want to see how much more advanced they are than we were.
Right.
You know, because
Without growing up too fast.
right, without going up too fast. I mean, like, listen, Jason, I understand. I've got two, and my girls, it's amazing, you know. And like you said, you look at how your son is growing up and how he's maturing right before your eyes. You know, pretty soon he's gonna be 18 and off to college, and you know, it's gonna be what it is. I mean, we look at the pictures of them now, but then when you look at them in the future, you know, you're gonna be like, oh my goodness. Now, allow me to ask you this: in your mind, how are you preparing for that future? Like, what are some of the things that you think
Yeah.
about? Because you know they got college going on. Soon they're going to get married. They're gonna, you're gonna have that burst of bees conversation. You know all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, what do you think about in that immediate and long term future?
Well, I actually just had a very long conversation with my neighbor today, and it was about our sons. And I was talking about what I kind of just mentioned, how, I'm grateful and blessed that he's the way he is, kind, sharing, athletic, smart. Um, I mean, he's got amazing characteristics, and and then I know how I was when I was growing up. I was the baby of three, and I was kind of like, I'm gonna learn the hard way. I'm gonna go against what you're telling me and just find out. And I know what I got into in high school and in college, and even still, till I, for the most part, surrendered my life to Jesus Christ, right, about 3 years ago, when I was about three, and this is when my dad passed away. Um, but I'm just trying to be an example. My dad was an amazing example. I had an amazing father. I had amazing parents, but my dad was solid. And he taught me amazing things as well. But then there were also things that I wish he would have done differently. So I'm able to give that to my son. You know, all the things my dad gave me and showed me, and you know, told me it was okay to cry, told me to speak up when you need to speak up because nobody will hear you. Um, and then of course just leading by example, not drinking alcohol, not smoking any cigarettes, or what I did in high school and college, which was marijuana. Not doing that, not doing drugs, just trying to be righteous, and of course following as close as I can to Jesus, and also giving him that example, which is the best example and the best example of me too. Um, so we were having that conversation, and I feel like I'll be able to direct him you know, um, to that point, like you said, until he's about 16 or 18. And then, then he's his own little man. He's gonna get to go to college, or he's gonna get to, you know, progress, or, prosper into whatever he's doing. And he's gonna have to make his own decisions. And I told her, I was like, I feel like I can get him there, and being thirsty. Like, you can get a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. But I can get him there and make him thirsty, but he's gonna he's gonna do what he's gonna end up doing. And I just hope nobody else but himself can steer his way into the right way, right? Because there's gonna be a friend that might be like, hey, come on, let's go do this, and I might not be there, and it's really gonna be up to him, but also what his mother and I are doing now to put into him, like right and wrong and stuff like that, and to think. And so I'm just trying to be the best example, and I hope, and I would pray for anybody that's it, the least you can do, if not the most you can do. Um, and I'm trying not to be a hypocrite either. Like, that's why I stopped drinking. Well, that's one of the reasons I stopped drinking and smoking and doing stuff that I'm not supposed to be doing, is because I already know better. And if I'm trying to tell my son to do something or not to do something, I don't want to be feeling like a hypocrite. And then, um, you know, getting prepared for it, it's just having the small conversations with him. He's six, about to be seven, but we have young man conversations. Like, I don't talk to him like a baby. Um, and and again, like, I don't also discipline the way I was disciplined. Like, when you and I were probably growing up, we probably got the belt whooping, we probably got the shoe thrown at us, the switch, the hanger. No, I just talk to him. I just
Right.
talk to him, and that's really what I'm doing in preparation, is just having real talks, and letting him know, like, hey, you want to know something, like, you can ask me. Like, I'm not gonna. I can give you the short version, or I can give you the long version. but I'm not going to lie to you. Um, and he might start asking some really hard questions as he gets a little older, between 8 and 10, and I can't find myself lying to him. As hard as hopefully again his mom and I could settle or something, and if not, if I decide to go date somebody else or have another woman in my life and have another child or something, like that goes through my mind, and that's a hard responsibility for me now to think about, because I don't want that to change his mind,
Right.
or
Right.
change the way he thinks about me or his mom, or if he's loved or not loved, or and so it's hard for me to date. It's hard for me to do stuff. So I just have real conversations with him. That's what I've been doing since he was little. I just kind of sit down and, hey, bud, talk to him and just keep it appropriate, of course, at his age. Um, and just kind of direct him and let him know he's loved, and let him know that, if he ever needs anything, or if he ever wanted to ask anything, that, I'm his guy,
Gotcha.
I'm going to answer it for you. Um, and we can have conversations ongoing from that, but that's the preparation, that I'm going with right now, in hopes that it builds an amazing person, an
Right.
amazing friend, an amazing husband, because I haven't been married. I didn't have the best relationships, with my mom or my sister, the women figures in my life. It was with my father and my uncles, the male figures,
Right.
great examples, and still working on relationships all the time. And so that's what I want. That's what I want him to have. Something that I didn't have was great relationships.
Right.
Um, all in all, like I said, a great friend, a great person, a great friend, and a great husband, and hopefully continues, and he'll always be a great son, to me, and I'm sure to his mother. So that's the preparation that I'm steering and going towards with him.
Understood. Now, let me ask, because you were talking about something real important, having your own life. You know, doing things like being able to date, being able to go out. Um, this is away from your son. It's just as a single man. You know, how are you managing through the experiences of dating, especially because you have a child? You want to make sure that you're bringing the proper young lady
Yeah,
into your life. To make sure that they may not be mother material, but at least they're decent.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying, in that respect. What do you when you meet someone, do you know right off the cuff, hey, this is somebody I wouldn't mind bringing my kid around? You know what I'm saying? Or is this somebody that I'm just gonna, you know, have fun with for the evening and that's it?
Yeah.
Where's your head there?
So, the first 4.5 years of my son's life, Riker's life, it was just custody battle. I didn't have time to date, or really. It was like the way you're working on yourself right now for this coaching thing is like I was working on getting my son, and that had a lot of responsibility. One, being a father. Two, fighting to be a father and in my son's life. And that was doing whatever I needed to do with work. And I was trying to, make sure that I mean, I got out of the fitness industry, because I thought that wasn't going to be the right direction for what I needed to do. I got into the oil field, um, thinking that was good, but I was away from home a lot. And, so I was away. I was just working. It was just work, 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 thinking of how I'm going to get my son. And then 4.5 years in, we finally finalized our custody battle. And at that point, I knew it was coming to an end, and I was already thinking to myself, man, now it's time, I want some time for me. Like I want to feel loved. I want to feel, like again, have somebody there to come home to. Um, and I actually jumped into a relationship. I found this girl, and it was for about a year and a couple months. So it went from him being 4.5 to about 5.5 right before he turned 6. And now he's about to be 7. So I've been single since that breakup. And when we had that breakup, I went right back into work, right back to focusing on work. Um, and actually, the relationship that I did get into more was um, Jesus, was my Lord Savior Jesus Christ. Like, and that's really been my journey. That's really who's been leading me and directing me, and it hasn't been the female. And it's just again working on myself, um, not really trying to go out and find go out and find somebody. It's like if that's what God wants, God will provide it. And it's not something I'm actually going out and looking for, or I don't even think I'm asking for it really, to be quite honest with you. So it's just been work. Um, yeah, I mean, I haven't had a female around in a long time.
You know, it's it's crazy. It's interesting because the world of a single father is different than the world of a single man. You know what I'm saying? You got other things to look out for, and
Yeah,
your responsibility level changes. I mean, certain things don't change, but your level of responsibility, it changes because you realize that, like I said, you want to make sure that you're bringing someone who has a good character
yeah,
into your household. Somebody that you want to make sure that you know your your son is going to respect over time. But Jason, I just want to say thank you so much for giving me a few minutes of your time because I know, like I said, you're busy, you're all over the place. All single parents are. You know what I'm saying? We're always all over the place.
yeah.
Our minds are constantly non-wasted Tuesday, but we figure out how to manage it, how to make it happen. So again, I appreciate the time you gave me. Um, is is there anything you wanted to say to the audience you know before we head out? Something you want to promote on your about what you do, things of that nature.
Um, no, I mean I'm still on a journey. I have God lead and direct me into different things. That's kind of how I met you. Um, was at a speaker boot camp, and I mentioned this to you. I was like, I don't know if I was sent there because of my athletic attributes, or if it was just because God wanted me to become a motivational speaker also for the youth and kind of talking about my story. Um, but whatever it was, I haven't been following the whole speaker part, but I have been in my ministry and mentoring kids through the Eyes on Me um, ministry. And no hurry. God provides, and it's just waking up every day being blessed, and he'll open up doors, and he's closing doors for me, and he's opening up other doors. And just having the privilege to speak to you a few times has been amazing, and a very big privilege to actually have you invite me to kick off your show. Um, but no, I mean, I just encourage fathers to fight the fight. Your kid, whether son or daughter, will appreciate it maybe not all at once, but when they get older, they'll know, um, even if even if maybe, which I'm not saying my son's mom does this, 'cause I don't think she does, but even if the mother or the father is putting stuff in the kid's head, as long as you're present and you have conversation with them, they'll be able to dissect they're smart. Kids are smart. They'll be able to um, understand once they get older, like what you actually did for them. Oh, you were there for them. Oh man, like I remember this, I remember that. They'll remember the good times. That's the main thing. So just keep fighting the fight, walking the walk, and don't give up. I mean, it's kids are precious and they're your legacy, and like that's that's a blessing, and just you have to take care of yourself in order to take care of them. But again, we've already grown up to do what we're for the most part supposed to do. But I think once you become and been given the blessing to be a father or a parent, um, that's now the main priority. That's the light, and you want that light to shine brighter than the shine that you had or was given. It's pretty much like our time's up and their time's coming, and you need to pour that into them, and keep pouring it into them, so they can have a bright future. So
Well, Jason, I understand absolutely, and thank you for that because that's key information to be able to take away. You know, to let single parents know, men or women, but
yeah,
especially single fathers, let them know that your time is important.
yeah,
But at a certain point, you got to make sure you're dedicating your time to your child and get out of your own way.
yeah.
Give them that time. So thank you again. Jason, ladies and gentlemen, Jason Adams, I really appreciate you taking some time to touch base with me. I look forward to touching base with you again in the future and doing something like this. You know, again, Jason, absolutely incredible. And thank you
Thank
for
you,
helping
John.
kick off my premiere episode.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
All right.